Okay, so hello everybody, welcome back to the series, and this is the third episode, and sorry, part three of the third episode, and this is going to be the last video of episode three. So after that, we will move on to episode four, five, whatever I think is required. But now, uh, let's deep dive into this video, and before that, firstly, what would be our object of discussion? It would be the ways of living, like how you live, basically all the modes of living explain, like you live in passion, you live in mediocrity and all those. uh, you will see I have just written existential crisis and all hopelessness. I'm going to discuss this as well, so it's going to be very interesting. And so let's just go into it. Okay, so firstly, we have just done a bit of comparison that mainly how can you live life. Okay, see, living intensely versus normal. Okay, when a person lives with their life with tremendous intensity, they experience existential crisis or deep pain, freedom and resistance. Okay, so what I mean here is that, let's say you for a period of your life, you, let's say you played games for over 16 hours, you studied, or maybe you did something productive over 16 hours, like very intensely. Might not be like studies and all on only gaming, it could be sports. I'm sure you have done it. If not, then no problem. uh, Basically anything you have done intensely for a long period of time, and with much effort, like let's say uh, you have played cricket, from, let's say, 1 year, and you gave your heart and soul into it. I also did, when I was in class 10th. I used to study like around 16 hours is a bit too much, but I think I studied around 10 hours minimum a day. 9, 10 I'm talking about, because class 8, I thought that my result was very bad, and obviously it was. When then it improved gradually in 9 and 10. But that's my academic stuff, it doesn't matter here. What I'm trying to give you is, I am trying to give you a relatable example, that if you have studied for a lot of very intensely, or maybe you have done anything. Let's say you have created drawing, you have done painting, you have danced, anything with great intensity, then you would experience this so-called feeling of existential crisis or deep pain. Two things can happen. One thing, for me, it was a combination of both of them, deep pain and existential crisis, because I was oblivious to the realities of the life. And because this topic is not taught in schools, and considering our education system now, it's rather, let's not criticize the education system. It's rather that we improve ourselves, that would be much better. But anyways, so I had this both existential crisis and deep pain, and I'm just giving a brief overview now, that how what you might experience. I'm in detail, I have this, I have described here extreme pain and existential crisis, state of hopelessness. These are all I have explained. Okay, so basically, you either go into existential crisis or maybe deep pain, like you are traumatized, maybe that kind of stuff. Very intense. It can be anything. I'm not just telling that I studied, or maybe someone plays cricket. Not only so-called higher things. You could have maybe intensely watched movies for a year, or maybe anything you have done with great intensity. Then you would either experience two of them, either if anyone, existential crisis or deep pain, and they are much related. They are not much different. Let me give you an example. Harry Potter. Okay, so this is a small example. Okay, I'm not just I'm this is one of my examples which I experienced in my life. It can be anything in your case also. Okay, so what happened that, as a child, uh, I did not get much freedom. But however, in class 11th, I got a large, in the, not class 11, I think 9 or 10. My freedom increased, and my restrictions upon me were kind of relaxed, because that was during the COVID times, and I could access online everything. So uh, I watched this Harry Potter. This I know it's very famous, novel series and movies. I watched this as a child, but that time I did not care about it much. But again, in the online period, then again I got pulled towards this Harry Potter universe, because my own life was very uh, closed, and very suffocating. So that's why I thought that this would give me pleasure, and maybe I just picked it out of curiosity because I had really nothing to do except just scroll through the phone every day. So I thought maybe it's a good try some good storybook or good movies. And then, do you know what happened? While I found out, and I started watching the Harry Potter movies. Okay, there was a site where you could watch the movies for free, and to my surprise, like I finished 3 4 movies in one day. So that is equivalent to, each movie is around 2.5 hours. So basically 10 hours I spent beyond in 2 days. I completed all the Harry Potter movies, like total 8 movies. So 2 days, 20 in within like 20 hours. I took 20 hours to complete all the Harry Potter movies, and it was not. I was watching very, vigorous, like how can I say, immersively. Like I was, though with a bit of restlessness, desperation, that okay, okay, next, next, next. Basically I was binge watching. I i completely watched this whole Harry Potter series, basically the movies, 2.5 hours each, within 2 days, all of them. And uh, and then also I was not satisfied. Then I thought that I should go for the books, and I went for the books, and same happened for the books. I read 4 books in one day. Okay, I was obviously surprised because I was not an avid reader, but somehow something pulled me, and I was like completely immersed in it. And honestly, like 4 books in one day, it's just really, really. I mean, I just, it might not be that I was paying much attention, but I was just maybe like I was just hitting the scroll button, and I was reading. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I read line by line, and 4 days. Sorry, 4 books in one day, and again then 3 books in the next day. So basically, within 5 days, I guess, I completed the whole Harry Potter books and movies and everything. Just 5 days it took me. So that was because there was no restriction on me, and freedom was given. And after that, uh, after I finished, again, by the Dent model, we know that even if we had infinite pain, infinite greed, and if someone takes it out, then we would feel a kind of emptiness. And then I just, after I completed, I just went into emptiness, like why is my life sucks, and all this all kind of statements which I normally give, uh, or so-called a depressed person gives to themselves. And I hit severe depression, right? So basically, I experienced this existential crisis and deep pain both. Okay, and this is not just this is not the only intense thing I did. I did many others. This was just a small example I showed, and obviously there were much others also which I did, and they resulted in existential crisis and questioning my existence and deep pain, etc. So Harry Potter example I just remembered while writing this PDF, so I just wrote it down because it's still a memorable part. Okay, so basically I was able to do all this because my freedom, I got freedom and no restrictions were imposed upon me. Restrictions mean uh, basically external factors, like let's say parents. Let's say take an example of relationship. Let's say your parents are very strict and they don't want you to go at late nights and have parties and all. Okay, so basically there is a restriction imposed upon you, so you cannot experience that, you cannot intensely go to the party and drink. So that's why, for the current state of being, you don't have any pull or much pull towards that parties and stuff. But once, don't lie, once freedom is given, you would be doing it all day long, until and unless you hit these two things. And even if you hit these two things, then also you would do it until you realize the truth. Okay, so if restrictions are present, then people cannot work deeply in one room and jumps from one to another in hopes to find a new room which will satisfy them. Example, traveling, gaming, everything. All mediocre people, yeah. Now I'm talking about the mediocre people, which is maximum of the people who don't, they don't, this say, yeah, my life is all right, explore life, travel, and game, like everything should be balanced. This kind of people, these are mediocre people because they have not worked intensely in one room. Okay, because of some restrictions, obviously. Like as I mentioned, let's say, in my case only, let's say I read Harry Potter full, but let's say if my parents were that strict and I was again restricted, then do you think I would have been able to let's say they restrict my internet usage, or maybe they supervise me when I was uh, scrolling, or maybe I was using the devices, then obviously I would not have I could not have read this Harry Potter, so immersively within a few days, so intensely. So then, I would have jumped from another room from Harry Potter. Let's say I would jump from to some movie, from some movie to another food, or maybe from some food to another, let's say, girl. Basically, these are all. If restrictions is imposed, then I would keep on jumping from. I would try to find another room. That, yeah, this would make me happy. Let's say you are eating one food, you did not like it. You say, I want to eat that food. That food would make me happy. Basically, that's just a loop. Okay, so, and I see, I'm not glorifying existence people with existential crisis and deep pain, and I'm also not downgrading or glorifying mediocre people. No, it's just that how restrictions are imposed upon them and how the restrictions play a role in your lives. So basically, nothing. If you are in existential crisis or deep pain, then does not mean that you are someone great. And also, if you are mediocre, you fall in this category. That also does not mean that it's bad or it's good, because I'll come to that. I've just The second point is here: moderation or living normal life. So basically, uh, this same mediocre people, once they're given the freedom and restrictions are removed, they would do the same thing, and then again they would uh, fall into deep pain or existential crisis. Okay, so moderation living on normal life. Yeah. So first I've talked about this mediocre people who say, yeah, my life is all right, it's fine, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter in the sense that, yeah, keep a work life balance. This party should also be done. Enjoyment, and they say like this. Okay, explore new places. This kind of people, they are basically mediocre. Basically, moderation. They live in moderation, right? So for them, I have an interesting analogy. Say a dark hall case or dark hall analogy, whatever. So consider uh, consider yourself as a child, and similarly, let's say in a dark room, it's completely dark, not even a bit of light is entering, you just cannot see anything. So in a dark room, you are walking, and in within that room, there are many, sharp objects, let's say knives and glass, and pointed pins, nails, everything. There's, it's just scattered, and in some places there are pillows as well, soft pillows, soft toys. Okay, so you and let's say you another friend of yours is walking through that corridor or through that room. Okay, and you just cannot see, you are just walking blindly. Let's say your friend, somehow it is just a chance of luck. You went that way, and your friend went another way, and your friend by chance encountered that strike, like let's say knife or something struck him, and he experienced brutal pain, right? He was crying. However, you, on the other hand, your luck was a bit better for now. You ended up falling into a group of soft toys, let's say teddy bears. You ended up falling on a group of teddy bears. Now, see, either you would be foolish to say, okay, nothing happened to me. Might be my friend is injured. He Some reason is there. He got uh, pierced by the knife and the nails. But me, see, I am on the teddy bear, so nothing happens to me. So I am fine. So these type of people are moderation. However, they are oblivious that they don't know that once they again get up and start moving, the next time they hit something, it might not be a teddy bear also. It would be a direct knife piercing through their hand, or everything. Basically, problem would pierce through them if they don't take care now. The people who are in the moderation living and normal, they're living normal life, first of all, they won't be watching this video. And even if they do, it's a very good chance now that you can fix yourself now, so that you don't end up getting pierced later. Because these people who are experiencing existential crisis and deep pain, they have already been pierced, so learn from them. Don't just say that, yeah, my life is all right, pain might be some others else, so I don't care. Don't be like that. Okay, so let's say that's in the same dark room. Let's say someone opens a door and there is a bit of light. So would you say, oh no no no, okay, mine is fine. I have teddy bear. Why should I go for light? Would you just close your eyes and turn away? No, you would observe that. Yeah, these are here. I need to work carefully and all this avoiding. These have to you have to just understand. You just use common sense. Then you can comprehend it, because if you don't fix it now, you are bound to get affected by it in the later ages. People, in some people, you can search on Google, in around age of 40, 50s, they experience this midlife crisis. Yeah, so until and unless you take care of it now, then it would be obviously hard for you in the future. And then again, once you experience this existential crisis and deep pain, then again you would have to return to the same solution which I'm going to tell to them, or same concept. You would fall in the same category. So better now than never. Okay. So this was of the moderation and people who were living in normal life. Okay, so called normal life. Okay, so now we are talking about extreme pain. These people go in the rooms where there is the most strongest pull. In those rooms, pain and pleasure are very high, very deep, dense, cannot stop. Yeah. So let's say uh, there's some this type of extreme pain happens generally in people with traumas. Might not be, I'm taking a general example. That, let's say, I'm taking a very deep example. Okay, so don't it's, don't take it lightly. uh, let's say someone's parents abuse them. I have a case of, like, I have a friend of my, not my friend, basically you can say a stranger, whom I talk with, and her parents, uh, her father sexually abused her. Okay, so it might be that you maybe some you underwent child abuse or maybe some sexual abuse. Then that dent which was implanted behind that room, let's say this dent which was implanted was had become very deep because of that external trauma or whatever. Okay, so once, see, if the dent is very deep, then the bell of the room would be ringing with maximum intensity, that fill me, fill me, fill me, fill me, fix me, basically. Because see, one dent is like this much, another dent is this. So obviously, this would ring with more intensity and ask you to fill it faster and pay more attention to it. So anything happens, you just cannot stop. Like, let's say some talk arises and you just cannot, some traumatizing experience happened, and let's say someone even, let's say you are traumatized by some object. Let's say, in Harry Potter, I'm taking the example of Harry Potter, it just came to my mind. So in Harry Potter, what happened was that, all the wizarding world, they were, you know very scared of this wall named Voldemort. Right? They could not take it. There were only a few people I know who took it. Okay, so they were very traumatized. Like, they could not even say Voldemort because of the memories, the traumas associated with them. Like, their family members got killed, and whenever some talk of that family member or Voldemort came, they like felt very weak and started crying and all those things. Basically, feeling very scared. So basically, this is the place where the pain and pleasure both are very extreme. Uh, Basically, if you somehow succeed in feeling this dent, you would feel like, yeah, it's your life is complete, immense pleasure. And however, if you cannot, then this pain would also be very high. Basically, extreme pain basically means the dent is very large. So I took an example from Harry Potter, so I think you might have understood by now. It can be anything. Like, let's say someone is scared of snakes, and suddenly some talk of snakes or some picture arises. Then they would feel like scared, they would feel overwhelmed, like, oh no, they would feel pain, let's say anything. Basically, traumas are more common, but it can happen in general also. So that's the main overall thing with people with extreme pain. So basically, their dent is very deep and they cannot just stop themselves going into the dent, because the pool in the room is very much, because as I said, the intensity of the ringing the bell is very high. Okay, and now we are coming into the main part, the existential crisis, or so-called hopelessness, which is crucial, obviously. So let's just give a reading and then I'll elaborate. Okay. Every room becomes suffocating after some point. Agent realizes then feeling with what it is. Yeah. So as I mentioned, if you live intensely, you would finally find that every room that becomes suffocating. Like you feel like, what would happen? Why if I if I eat that food? I have been eating the food for the past 10 years, that so-called tasty food. Still, I am not feeling happy. It does not mean that you would not eat the food. You would eat the food, but still you would feel suffocated, that you would feel stuck, that why can't I just get fulfilled? The agent has become hopeless because it knows that I bring water, here's the dent. I bring water, the water will go out. Even if I do keep infinite water, then also the dent will deepen, and the main purpose of my would not be solved, which is basically to fix the dent by hammering it back. So basically, the agent realizes that the dent filling with water is useless because ultimately the aim is completely destroyed. Okay. When other bell rings, you go out of the room to another. Agent get exhausted with rooms but goes inside rooms when the bell rings, even there is a freedom as the pool is now over. Okay. So what I wanted to convey here is that, let's say you are in a particular room, and if another bell rings, let's say suddenly you are in very pain and the bell of food, let's say you are crying out of existential crisis, hopelessness, and some tasty food is being kept inside in front of you, then let's say a laddu or some sweet, then you tell me, will it be like, oh, okay, I am in existential crisis. How will I take the sweet? You do not do like this, right? What you do, you eat even more then, right? Like let's say you are in movies, you can see that whenever there is a breakup between the couple, in most cases, the Bollywood portrays this, that uh, let's say I watched a movie called that Munna Bhai MBBS. That movie I watched as a child. He was rejected from the medical college. Sorry, he was, uh, he was disrespected in front of his parents, and his parents deep was dent was very deep because different restrictions and stuff. That night he was disrespected by that another doctor, that I think Dr. Asthana or something like that. So he was just drinking more and more. He was talking with his friend. I just forgot the name. Who wore a black shirt. I just can't remember the name. So he was talking with him, and he was just taking one bottle and just drinking and drinking. It's similar to that. When you are in even pain, you drink even more because basically it's empty, right? You try to fill it. The dent is empty. So basically, but finally, you would realize basically it does not now mean that the magical sense of attraction is now over. If the bell rings, you will go, but the pull is now over. Like let's say, for the first time you were coming into relationship, or maybe for the first time you were eating some tasty food. Let's say you have been in a relationship or been eating the tasty food for, let's say, a year continuously, or maybe a bit of gaps. Then tell me, if your girlfriend comes in front of you, obviously also then also you would feel your relationship bell trigger and you would enter that room. If the tasty food comes in front of you, then also the bell would trigger and you would eat the tasty food. But the magical pull for the first time which was there is now no less, much less. And it's like almost you are going only because of the bell and not because of your own actions. Okay. More complexity, I've written it here. More complexity implies more pull. So okay, the more complex a room is, the more pull it has. Like let's say for the first time you're very excited, desire, like girlfriend, I want to have a girlfriend, I would marry her. It's we are like destiny, it's our destiny to be together. It's written in the stars, and all these fairy tale things you associate with the room. And then the complexity increases, and you are more pulled. You are, let's say you are working, then you would think about your girlfriend. Oh, okay, I need to talk to my girlfriend. And another, let's say you are playing, then also you would think like, okay, I need to talk to my girlfriend, and all these things. Similar case with food also. You can imagine that a plate of food, let's say you are eating for the first time, you ate for the second time, You would when you were working, you would think like, okay, that food was very tasty, I need to eat that again. So if you continuously do this, you would finally, the complexity slowly would decrease, because the agent would uh, experience the truth that no matter how much water I bring, it's not the right way. So the complexity increases, and so does the pool. So pool increases does not mean that you would not go into the room, you would still go into the room, right? As I mentioned here, agent gets exhausted with rooms but goes inside the room when the bell rings. Okay, so if the bell rings uh, with some intensity, the agent will still go into the room and do all these activities of water filling and all, but there's a sense of freedom that the pull is now over, right? So, and in some cases, what the agent can do is, might feel a new room will help, but finally doesn't. Okay, so basically, finally, maybe, let's say there are 40 rooms in your life, as I mentioned, 40 rooms is there in your life, and let's say your agent has tried out every 40 or 40 rooms, and then the agent has realized that, okay, nothing is happening, I'm just a hopeless fellow, and the agent is just so disappointed that I just can't do anything. So let me just draw. Okay, so let's say there are 40 rooms on the either side. One, two, three, four. 20 rooms on this side, 20 rooms on that side. Okay, it goes on. uh, and let's say you are completely disappointed. You as an agent, it's just, you just feel it's, I've tried out everything, it's just so terrible. So what you do, you find another room, you create a 41st room. Okay, and there you put intense action in that room, and again, when the this room will also fail, then you would realize, the agent would finally realize that, okay, I've been fooled, I've done this, I've done everything, but still I cannot do it. So that's when the agent starts looking out for answers, that how to actually fix this life, because it's not the right way, because everyone knows, everyone means, it's just obvious that filling with dent with water, what am I doing? The agent is now questioning life, the dent uh, itself, right? So that's what I've written here. Might feel new room will help. You will feel that new room will help, but finally, when it doesn't, you will realize that you are being fooled. Same thing. Just as I told, it's just the same thing as written. So, see, there are so many things in this universe. Like, there are so many subjects, so many, as I mentioned, girls, so many food items, so many clothes, so many brands, so many cars. You would continue, your agent would continuously see that, okay, if I do that, if I do that, it would just help me. But finally, uh, agent, through some light or maybe by chance, sheer luck, comes to realize that no, it's actually just a dent. It will never be fulfilled by just pouring water into it. So that was the existential crisis. I hope you have understood. So, and the state of hopelessness is also accompanied with it, because the dent is empty and you feel completely hopeless. So if you create another room, then know that it would not help you. It's the same loop again and again. You would be stuck in the same loop of creating rooms, getting dented, hammered at, and having dents, and trying to fill the dents with water. You just do anything, right? Really, you just do anything, but just don't hit it back with the hammer. Okay, so I know you are excited to hear this part, failure of the model. I have just told you so much in this model that you would be like, I know much of your queries are explained, but you would be still like, failure. How come is the failure? Uh, but listen, firstly, teaching this model was important, because if I directly tell you the last model, it would be more like a thrown up philosophy that, okay, this is right, follow this. So until and unless you find out yourself, then you would not understand the significance of the actual model, because I want the model to be a core of your life, not just another random philosophy you come by. So it's not a philosophy, it's your life itself. So now to the final part of this video. After this we end, and we will talk more in the next video. Failure of the model. This are I will explain this in more deeper and in more elaborate way in the next video. But I have just now written down some points which show the which does not these points does not explain the working of this dance as we mentioned. So I've just written here brief. So basically I will be talking in brief only. I have choice. Some people I say I'm controlling, but how? Okay. You know, some people they say they are dieting. Let's say David Goggins, right? He says that his past was also like he was very fat and he had many diseases, but he chose not to stay limited. What he did, he used to run, he used to diet, he used to exercise, he used to work out. He used to push him. He chose to push him to the next level. So how do people actually? Because what we talked about that there's a room, there's a den. If the bell rings, we have to go. We have to go inside no matter what. So what is this? I have choice. I am controlling. Our model does not explain this controlling. That how are we controlling basically? Because if the bell rings, then we have to go, right? Or so you think? Okay. Uh, then how can it be that they are controlling? What does that essence actually mean? And another one is one room, different dens, and vice versa. Okay, this one is a bit deep. So let's just discuss the last one and then we'll come to it. Lostness of immersion. Sir, you still didn't explain that in some rooms, what happened? We were completely lost. Our time was gone. It was not feeling like some water is going and coming. It was feeling that I am in eternal peace. Like, let's say you are playing a cricket match intensely with your friends. Then you were not thinking that, okay, what about my girlfriend? Maybe you were, thoughts would come, but you would give them very less priority. You would be focusing on taking the bat and hitting the six, or maybe whatever. You want to just play very well, you want to give your best effort. So our model does not explain this, that how is this state possible, because what we all talked about was dent, water coming, water going, and this thing. So this immersion part our model does not explain, and this choice part also our model does not explain. One room, different dents, and vice versa. I will discuss this point in the next video also, but for a brief, let's take an example for now. Let's say you are going into gym, right? So you can go gym for multiple reasons, right? First of all, for your health. Let's say your health is poor and you want to improve it. That's the genuine reason. Another thing is that for maybe you need to look good. Look good. LG. I'm writing look good. So maybe you can get some relationship, maybe, or maybe you want some. You go to the gym to become some trainer, or basically you work with the motive of money. And let's take gym is a similar example. Let's say example would be more relatable to students. Let's say study, right? So why do you study? Some people they study for interest, like they research and all those. They are deeply engrossed in their work, research basically. Some people they study for some jobs, right? That I want to I want to reach that position, I want to reach that job, so I need this skill. They study for that. Some people study for money. Like, this is the story of most of the people who prepare for competitive examinations in India, that they are mainly focusing on money, which is bad or not, which obviously bad, but we'll come to it in the next video. And you can also study for, let's say you want to impress your let's say girlfriend or your crush. It can be many of these. So can you see that there is a room of study? Yes. And within that room there are multiple dens: relationship, money, and then your job. And again, if you are doing if you are in a relationship, then again there is if you are in relationship room, then again there is a uh, room of money, sorry, a dent of money, a dent of parents, that what would parents think. These are all, how can it be possible? Like, one room, we talked about one room, one dent. How can one room have two, three, multiple dens? How come in one den we tend to think about another room? So this one also our model does not explain. So these are the, I have just some briefly summarized the failure of this model. So what we would do in the next day is to create a better hypothesis, and slowly we would head on to the final model of life and how we should actually live it. So I hope you have enjoyed this video. Please share your views on you what you think. Please share your observations. That is it really does is it the same thing that happens with you? This existential crisis, extreme pain, and moderation. So yeah, that's it for the video. See you next day. Uh, Bye.